Hello, and welcome back to our online trade show booth. For this segment of our live stream, we are graciously joined by Penny Meyers, who has donated her time today to record this interview and to share her story.
Thank you, Jackson. It's very nice to be here. And I'm happy to volunteer my time. I think that's awesome when you have people that'll say wonderful and great things about other people and organizations.
Yeah, and it's great that there's so many of you, especially Rory, that are seem to be so passionate about an organization like this. And as through coming to learn about Your Life Counts, doing this trade show booth and helping you guys out, it seems like I can understand where that passion sort of stems from. For those that aren't aware of your experience, would you maybe be able to share a little bit about your story and how it maybe led you to Your Life Counts?
Absolutely, Jackson. My son, Nicholas, he took his life May the 19th, 2007. Nicholas was the youngest of three. He had two older sisters. Nicholas was 20 years old when he took his life. We, to this day, still have no idea why he took his life. Nicholas never had any mental illness. He was never diagnosed with mental illness. I think he had, like most teenagers and young people, he had some struggles. He was just in Fanshawe. He was taking a course at Fanshawe. So he was finishing some courses. They went on strike. He was out of school for 3 weeks, didn't know what to do with himself. His other buddies had all gone home. Some of them chose to not continue and finish the course. Nicholas was working. He was not a troubled kid. He was not a troubled youth. He was very rooted, didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. So we knew he was troubled with those decisions, but those decisions are everybody's troubles, not to take your life over. So we have no idea what happened and why he chose this one particular evening to not come home. He'd been at a party with his sister, and she didn't see him leave the party. And we get a visit by the police the next morning, Sunday morning at 5:45 in the morning, and wanted to know if we knew where he was and what was going on. And we said, no, he was at a party. We assumed he went to his sister's and stayed overnight. And he took his life. That was the beginning of our new life without Nicholas. So as a survivor of suicide loss, there's a lot of unanswered questions. There's very little postvention resources, material, and help. Even the new programs like nursing programs, therapy, they don't include much new information on postvention suicide because they just don't deal with it. Nobody really talks about it. So I began a brand new journey of finding out where is other survivors of suicide loss. What are they feeling? What are they going through? Who is out there to help us? There's all kinds of suicide prevention and intervention programs, but there's nobody there for us. Right. And when I brought up the idea of many of these suicide prevention and intervention programs, why is there no postvention? And I could never get an answer. They just kind of stare at me like, huh? And I think what I figured out all these years, if they had a postvention program, they would have failed suicide prevention and intervention. And that's not true, because we're postvention and we left behind are at risk of suiciding. And as much as people would say, no way, I know for a fact, 13 years since my son died, twice I would have done anything to carry through with not being here anymore. Mm-hmm. But I got around it, I survived it, and I got through it. But postvention, there is definitely a need for material and update in the training for nurses, doctors, and psychiatrists. They all need to be updated. We don't need prescriptions. We need to have somebody listen to us for what we're feeling, what we're thinking and what's happening in our life, because it's normal. And we need someone to listen, non-judgmental, a safe environment, and not to think that we need to be thrown in a padded room because we feel crazy. So I remember setting up a booth in Hamilton. Everything seemed to happen in Hamilton for workshops and conferences. And we were the first ever to set up a display that was suicide prevention or postvention. And I specifically did it in black. And the letters were in black. And I remember my daughter saying, how's anyone going to see that? I said, that's my point. They have to come up really close to see, because when people saw suicide postvention, they would see it from a distance and they would never approach us. I don't know what's that about. I have no idea. I think there was something about, oh my God, postvention, that's after a suicide. Oh my God, I don't want to get too close because I might catch it. Well, it wasn't like a cold or flu. You would not catch suicide postvention. So I think in a roundabout way, we met people that knew Rory, and Rory heard about us, and in a roundabout way, we're yet to figure out if he contacted me or if I contacted him. We laugh about that, because how do you not remember your first meet? Well, we just remember touching base, and from that day forward, because we are so alike, the only difference is I burnt out. I no longer have public displays. I do talks. I'm writing now. We've done many resource materials. Is it recognized in Ontario? Who knows? Survivors recognize us. Do the people with numbers or letters behind their name recognize us? Does it matter? No. Because what does matter is when they contact me or they read my material, they write me or they call me or they email me, and I can almost feel right through their words, they're jumping for joy, because they are so excited that we speak the truth and we say it like it is. Rory has continued with his helping and reaching out to people, and he's been very successful, has a great organization. I just decided that I needed to take a break and get away from the face-to-face with people that don't recognize us. And you fight for funding, government doesn't recognize us because we don't pay salaries. Anyone that worked with me, or same with Rory, they volunteer. We don't get salary, we don't claim administration, we don't claim brick and mortar, and we don't claim stamps and fuel and eating out, because that came out of my pocket. So the difference in our organization is why the government wants nothing to do with us and won't fund us. Or Rory.
First of all, Penny, my condolences. That was a very touching story, and a lot of passion's coming through you, I can tell, when it comes to this organization. So thank you for sharing that.
Thanks, Jackson.
And it just goes to show, how different Your Life Counts seems to be dealing with postvention suicide, as it may be an underserved or underappreciated section of what we're talking about here. So I absolutely appreciate that. So there are many mental health charities in North America, and maybe Your Life Counts maybe isn't as well known as some of those larger organizations. So why did you find that your mission aligned with Your Life Counts more than any other?
Well, my mission aligned with Your Life Counts because we were very similar in our beliefs. We were very similar with knowing a process when somebody calls you, how to listen without giving advice, how to listen respectfully, quietly, without saying, I know what you're saying, I've been there before, and if I'm here, you can be here. We have learned how to listen to somebody that is at risk and having thoughts of dying by suicide. And if their last call is to us, we know how to respectfully let them say their piece and know it's okay to feel like that. How do we get beyond what you're feeling right now? How do we do what it is that you need right now? We don't have the funds to market. Our marketing is word of mouth. People that reach out to us don't really want to be seen on the front page of the paper that this is a successful organization because it helped me when I thought I would die. Because as soon as you admit that, you no longer have respect at the workplace because, oh, they will say you do, but you don't, because you know darn well you will lose that promotion, or you will be, like my doctor said to me one time, you know, you were pretty rough when your son died. Don't you think that was a mental health issue? And I said, no, I was grieving. Years later, I had a form to fill out, and he needed to fill it out, and he called me on the phone. He said, I don't really know what to say. I feel like, don't we have to tell them you had a mental illness? I didn't have a mental illness. I had a dead son, and I was grieving. That is for life, but you don't have to give me the record. I've already got the scars. We understand those things. We know what it takes to get people to the next level, keep them alive. There's very few. Most open a book and expect you to fit in the theory. If you don't fit in the theory, there's something wrong.
That makes total sense. And I totally can understand why you chose Your Life Counts over some others that, you know, there might be a lot of talk, but you guys really seem to come up with some actionable solutions for a lot of the problems you're trying to solve. So thank you for that. I appreciate your work. And just off of that, what's the most significant impact that you saw throughout your journey with Your Life Counts? What's maybe an inspiring success story or anything that came out of it that is, you know, valuable to you?
I think it's the people that have actually contacted Your Life Counts and have, you know, come forward and said, I wouldn't be here if I hadn't have spoke to Your Life Counts. Or if people have said, he's a personable person. Rory is very personable. It's not about what he does for a living makes him no different of a man than the rest of the men in the world. Whether you were at risk or you're not, you're still a normal person. And Rory has accepted the fact that people that call in because they're at risk of dying by suicide, they're still a normal human being. And to contact or to talk to them later on, it's not like you're thinking, oh yeah, this person was a little unbalanced about a year ago or a month ago. I'm sure I better be careful what I say. There's absolutely no stigma behind that whatsoever. It's about getting that person to find reasons to live and stay alive and help them. And he has found unique ways to keep people alive. He's touched their hearts. And when you're at risk of dying, you don't have a heart, because that's why you want to leave the world, is your heart's hurting. So the heart's not the same. And Roy's been able to touch that and bring that out into people. And so that's why he's successful at keeping people alive and having a very busy, active organization.
Wow. Yeah. When you say that Rory comes up with these exceptional resources and solutions for some of these problems, which one, or not which one would you say is maybe one of the most inspiring to you personally, or one that quote unquote may have worked, and what's maybe just the most innovative strategy that Your Life Counts has kind of came up with?
Well, Jackson, the most innovative strategy that Rory has, and that is the ability to never assume each caller is the same. Each person at risk is the same. Rory is capable of letting that person talk in order for him to hear those words, in order to come back and bring up to that person what is most important, even though they don't know it is. He has that ability to read people very well with no judgment.
Absolutely.
And I
I can
think,
definitely tell he's a fantastic human being.
yes, and I think that's what makes him so successful with people. He doesn't open a book. He doesn't go by the book, because there is no book to keep people alive. We are unique human beings. We require, like school, when they say in school everybody's unique and they have a different learning ability, well, okay, we as adults are the same. We're unique, and we need to be treated as we're unique. So when they say that, oh, you at risk of dying, then, there's a problem here. I can't really move you up in your job because you're at risk of dying. I can't really give you responsibility because you're at risk of dying. That's not just at work. That's in the social society. When somebody needs help, Rory has a non-judgmental, clear mind and totally listens to what that person says. He's calm about it. He reflects back to that person. He has developed this technique to work with people and make them feel worthy and valued before they get off the phone. That's where his success lies. That is a gem in its own. And for government services and funding to overlook a successful charity organization like that, they are saying they don't care about the life of our people.
Right. And you need help to push this fantastic leg up you have on the competition when it comes to just being so personal in a field that really needs that.
Yes. And he does that without bashing. He doesn't criticize other organizations, because why would you? Everybody, it takes a team, a community, thousands of people to keep people alive. No one person can do that. He's just one of the gem that is capable of doing it.
Absolutely. So Penny, I realize that you've been authoring a book and you may have just gone through a bit of a celebratory process with your editor. Could you give us just a quick summary on what that's about?
Well, I'm really surprised, Jackson, it took me this long. I've wanted to do this for a while, but there's a reason for everything. All this 13 and a half years, 50 years of my life, I've got lots of things I've made it through in life, and I'm writing a book about all of them. It just happens to be the first one is the loss of my son, my personal journey through suicide postvention. And it's my story of my son and my journey, what your world is like, what your life is like after you've heard the news. The police are sitting in your kitchen in the morning, after you're trying to get back to some kind of normalcy, what it's like, what it does to your children or adult children, what it does to you, what it does to the father, how it affects your life in general to lose a son to suicide. So the book is very touching. And as my editor had said, I said, was that pretty tough to read that raw stuff? Because a lot of people don't agree with writing raw stuff. And she said, Penny, will your fellow survivors of suicide loss understand that raw stuff? And I said, absolutely. To candy coat it, sugar coat it, create stigma and shame. To call it what it is how you relate and start to feel some self-worthy, self-worth, and value. We are, as a mom that lost my son to suicide, I was devastated. It was like taking my body and just dropping it on the floor and breaking it in pieces. I didn't ask for it. He didn't mean to do it, I'm sure, to us. He didn't know what he left behind. How did I pick myself up and go on? I did. And I'm here to tell that story. And I feel very much for those people that Rory works with. They still contact me from my YouTube videos, but the people that Rory works with, they have told me he's so touching. as a survivor, that's what you want to hear. That's what you want to know. That you shouldn't walk around with a black mark or red mark or yellow mark on you. People see it from a distance. They lost somebody in their life. I don't really feel like talking to them right now. I don't know what to say. So it does. It touches on everything. And all I hope is that it helps somebody else get through their journey of grief.
Thank you for having the courage to take that tragedy and turn it into, and use the writing as an outlet.
Yes.
That's super inspiring. Could you tell us the title of that book?
Well, you know what? We were just talking about that. It's going to be something about Penny's personal journey through the loss of her son. We haven't really come to that one yet, but I do have a website. It will be on my website, and it's called thesurvivalseries.com. And as soon as the book is self-published on Amazon, it will be there available. I'm super excited. I'm most excited about having that material available. I just remember 13 years ago searching and searching and searching for material. A lot of it was doctors. A lot of it were therapists. But I just wanted to read something about a mother that was left behind after her son died. So I'm excited. I am. And I thank you very much, Jackson, for asking that information, because I'm just excited for Rory. And I really hope his organization goes forward and continues on. And I put him in the book because he deserves to be in the book. And I hope people learn more about Rory's Your Life Counts.
Definitely. And you know, we're so happy to stand by people like you guys who do the things that you do. Just before we wrap it up, Penny, would you be able to let our viewers know who are watching at home right now, what are some of the best ways they can do, or the best avenues they can take to support Your Life Counts and your mission?
Well, the first thing I can think of is money. Give the organization some money.
Absolutely.
And the second thing is give them dollars. Give them dollars.
Definitely.
The third thing is finances. The fourth thing is advocate for Your Life Counts. Tell the government, tell your MP, tell the people that need to hear it that you want Your Life Counts to be around forever, because it saves people's lives. And when he saves lives, don't you want that organization to be there? If your brother, your father, or your nephew, or your cousin, or your own child needed to stay alive and you didn't know about them, would you want them to have Your Life Counts phone number? I would. Yes, because we don't know when our children or our loved ones are going to die. They do that without our knowledge. So I would like Your Life Counts phone number everywhere available to keep them alive.
And I love the way you put that. We have a few match donor goals, with our goal of being $1,500 at the end of our stream. And so far, I know we've made some progress. So yeah, thank you for stating that. Well, Penny, it's been an honor to talk to you today, and to learn more about your story, your relationship with Your Life Counts, and all the change that you're fighting for. Shout out that book. You know, this is kind of why our team chose to choose Your Life Counts among the hundreds of other mental health charities, because real change is being made, lives are being saved, and it takes individuals such as yourself and Rory and everyone associated with the company to really push that movement. So I just want to thank you for not only your time and your openness today, but also for your courage and determination in creating change in Your Life Counts.
Thank you, Jackson. It does take being vulnerable to help change come alive, and it will happen. Just everybody, just give whatever you can. That's all that matters. Thanks so much for supporting Your Life Counts.